Number 4 actually introduces us to our next segment. This segment is called The Breakdown.
Watch the breakdown.
All right, so in The Breakdown, we are going to be breaking down every detail of the track that we can possibly come up with. Lines, the bars, the production, everything, the instrumental, references, the video if there is one, everything that we can think of with this song. We're going to try and gather as much information on it as we can, and we're going to break this down for you guys. So this song right here is called Crack Sandwich, and I'll start us off, Nate. I just the name is just so funny, man. You know that JID is a funny guy, and number 4, Crack Sandwich, like those are two words that really shouldn't go together. But if you listen to the song, exactly, if you listen to the song, you see that he compares his siblings to like crackheads, like all throughout the song. Like even in the hook, he's like seven crackhead bad kids in a caravan, something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's just it's so funny. And then, but if you really think about it though, like the family is almost like a sandwich. You know, everybody plays their part. You know, so it's like the family is the crack sandwich, a bunch of crackhead kids coming together. You know, to make this beautiful thing that we all love.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's how I saw it. But what are you thinking, Nate?
Nah, man, I agree. And it's funny you say the whole sandwich thing because, I mean, growing up Christian, we're always taught that, you know, as one, we're all together as one. You know what I mean? As a body of Christ, one. So it's funny you say that because, like, as a family, we're all supposed to. Everybody plays their part. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So yeah, man. I mean, I think. Oh, so starting off. I think the production reminded me of like a RZA production or like something that could have been like it's like heavy Wu-Tang reminiscent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like very like boom bap kind of feel. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah. On Twitter, he was replying to fans for a while, asking him questions a while ago. This was last May, and they asked him what was the hardest song to write on the album, and it was this one. He said
really?
Crack Sandwich was the hardest song to write on the album. And as we get further into the album, as we get further into the song, I'm sure we'll see why. All right. One bar that stuck out to me. He said, "The irony when you're starving, gotta grip the biscuit." That's a good one, man. That's a good one. You got anything?
Nah, man. Go ahead. You got it.
All right, so I got a bunch of stuff, man.
Good, take it.
Yeah, he goes on later on. He says, "Feel the kick, not a fair catch. Kill him. Who trying to take a hit? First take, go to first base. Stephen A. Smith West on the hip, talking like Skip or Shannon Sharp shooting off the top of a cliff." So that whole segment right there, that whole rhyme scheme, obviously Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, they did the first take together. So he said first take, go to first base, Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. But now Skip Bayless is with Shannon Sharp on Undisputed.
Undisputed.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like he just goes, man. That was a great one, and
I love that line.
One of my favorite.
I love that scheme.
Yeah, one of my favorites. Favorite lines in here, and it's so simple, but it just flows so perfectly. And if I gotta bring it to you, cowards, then it's gonna be sick. Reference to the great and late DMX from Party Up in Here, right? That was a great one right there.
Also known as a. Let me not.
Yeah, so he also goes on and says him and his brother Izzy was slapboxing, and Izzy busted his lip, but no one can mess with Lil Bro, and Izzy always had his back. So if you ever did me wrong, he was right. Yeah. So I like that little twist right there.
That's what I love about this song is that it's very family oriented. Yeah. Again, kind of piecing together the whole part of the album in general, but yeah, showing that they will fight, but also come to fight each other, but also come as one.
Yeah.
And in the hard times and the rough times whenever you guys are going through something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think at the end of the first verse he said, blood run. Blood red run sipping, they ain't cut like this. And that was referencing to a movie from 1980, The Shining movie. Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you caught that because I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so like there's a scene where the kid is writing
In
red
The
rum.
Shining?
It's called The Shining, yeah. And
I've heard of the movie. I just never. I don't think
okay.
I watched it. Yeah.
So he's writing red rum. It looked like lipstick or a red marker or something. He's writing red rum on the door while his mom sleeps, and he's
Shit.
like, he's got the knife and he's like, I don't know how the kid didn't cut himself on the finger, but he says blood red, run sipping, they ain't cut like this,
Yeah.
So red rum, like,
Yeah.
and that
Facts.
run slipping red rum, it just sounds good, man.
Oh,
It's a great one.
I think one of my favorite lines is actually in the chorus. By the way.
That brings me
You
to
fall-
this.
there
The
you go,
chorus. The chorus is all the things his mom would tell him. All
Yeah.
the things his mom would tell him. It was great. Like, I ain't got cheeseburger money. Make a sandwich. And if you
Make a
ain't never heard
sandwich.
that,
Yeah.
you should be very thankful. Right?
Facts.
You should be very thankful, and you should be very happy that your parents were able to give you that kind of life. Because if you ain't never hear it, you ain't got cheeseburger money. Make a sandwich.
Yeah.
Listen, man, you grew up nice, and that's not a
They
bad thing.
Y'all grew up on fast food. That's what's up.
Yeah, right. I'm an artiste. Artist with the gun. I can give the world peace. Ron Artest. Ron
Yes.
Artest, most famous for his malice at the palace.
Yeah.
As when
Yeah.
he was fighting everybody from the Detroit Pistons and stuff.
Yep.
But
And then
he
the
also
crowd, and then the crowd.
yeah, and then the crowd. But he also went on and changed his name to Meta World Peace,
Yes.
signifying he wants to do better in his life, more positive things. So, Artest with the gun, he can give the world peace. That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
He
Definitely.
also name dropped all 7 of his siblings, which I thought was very helpful.
Yeah, I had heard Destin, because then anyway later on we'll hear him call himself Little Destin.
Yeah. So, Royal, Rosalind, Rachel, Carl, Izzy, Precious, and he's destined. Right. So he name dropped. Yeah, he's destined. He name dropped all 7 of the siblings, including himself. I also that starts to the 3rd verse. He goes on to say, like, he walks in the club with this whole concept thing going on, and he just throws this line in there, just a little hint, and he just goes on and he says, God flow, I don't walk on the floor. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh my
He
goodness.
just threw that in there, just like
Oh
no
my
emphasis or nothing. God flow, I don't walk on the
He
floor.
said, "I'm floating on y'all." That's what he said.
Literally. But he also goes
my
on and
goodness.
says, y'all shows ain't packing the floor, cracking the floor. Man, listen, if you ever been to a JID show, I actually got some, I got some more stuff for you guys here. We can chill out on this scene for a little bit. I saw JID in 2017. As you can see how close we were and how small his dreads were. This was when he first got signed to Dreamville. And he was, this venue probably held 100 people. Like, it was a very small venue,
What
man.
the hell?
And this was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. You can see he's got the Never Story on,
Yeah.
the T-shirt on.
Yeah.
I have that shirt too, but mine don't fit no
Okay.
more.
Okay.
But yeah, so like, this is the kind of things he would do. You see him in the middle of the crowd right there. And that was pretty much the crowd. You see everybody that's there, that was pretty much the crowd. There wasn't a lot of people there. Not a lot of people knew who he was yet, but it was pretty
Yeah.
dope. But if you ever
That's
been
it.
to his shows, he jumps, man. Like he loves the mosh pit vibes. What were you gonna say,
Yeah.
Nate?
No, I was gonna say I correlate with you, like in terms of like the intimate area. You know what I mean? Like the more smaller
Yeah.
venues. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel as though one of my favorite ones has been in a smaller venue as well, the TLA in Philly, which I
Yeah.
think that holds.
This was
I
a
think
club in
max-
Philly.
Yeah, this is a club in Philly. This one, I think TLA is like 700, but even then, still, you know what I mean? That had to be amazing, especially
Yeah.
to witness in the early days. You
And
know
it
what I
was
mean?
dope because like I was already a big fan of the Never Story, so it was just great. Like
100%,
if I showed you
yeah.
guys the audio on that, you'll be like, "Yo, that's crazy, man!" It was 2017, man. It was fun.
That's dope.
This last verse, he goes on and talks about how they got into this altercation. They were all in New Orleans because his brother Izzy, who was a football player, was just about to graduate college in New
Can you
Orleans.
say that? Can you say that name again?
Izzy.
Izzy, okay.
Yeah, Izzy. He was a football player. He was graduating in New Orleans, and he gave his brother a couple shouts. He said, black man using his mind. It's a target on your forehead. Gotta stay on point like a marksman. Make a mark, leave a footprint. Went for a marching. As he's talking about his brother's graduation, you march at graduation. So that was just a perfect little scheme right there.
Right.
And as he's talking about this day, he specifically remembers he had new J's and a new fade, because he probably never got that very often. We all remember those, those Thanksgivings when we got those new Reebok Classics or new J's or new Adidas shell tops. We all remember those things.
Yeah, for sure.
And so he just made it a point to, point that out. But the story in this track is, his sister Precious got into it with someone at the club. And some dude apparently came out and started punching on her because the sister Rosalind must have bumped into somebody in the bathroom.
In the bathroom, yeah.
Yeah, and the girl started cursing her out, calling her the B word. So she's like, hold on, wait, what? Nah, you ain't gonna make it all that serious, and if you're gonna make it that serious, I can see you outside. So she waited for the sister to open. She waited for the girl to open up the door, and she met her right at the stall. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
That is hilarious. But it's also, again, the skit is just and it's also okay. So a lot of albums they'll kind of throw skits in and that be its own thing.
Yeah.
I love when they can kind of incorporate it in the song, like he does.
Yeah.
Pretty much throughout the song.
Yeah.
And it just goes. It's perfect for literally what's going on in the story of each verse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in that verse, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say it just shows that this was a real thing. This actually happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what makes it great. All throughout the album, he has a bunch of stories, and it makes it so easy to listen to because his storytelling, he doesn't sacrifice the bars for it. He doesn't sacrifice the flow for it. There's a lot of OG storytellers that they're just not good artists because you can't listen to that on an everyday basis. It's not fun to listen to. The sound is not there. And this is very fun and very easy to listen to. But yeah, in that story, I just thought it was funny how he mentions how his sister Rosalind had someone doing the hair weave sling. Yeah. And I just thought that was so funny.
Yeah, every time I hear it, yeah.
And then he goes on to say it's so beautiful, the family fighting together. What? It's a beautiful thing. Literally. We're all beating ass together, Right. I just thought that was great.
Again, in the midst of chaos, they can still find camaraderie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he said they was all arrested and they got held for 7 hours, but they left with no charges. So they didn't get no charges. But he was just you could tell at the beginning of when he's explaining that. He's trying to talk crap about the police, saying they would lock us up for seven hours and not even give us any charges or anything. But then he says well, who's to blame? When all of our siblings is like a gang.
Yeah.
So he just goes on and he says, and that's enough to make our parents proud and ashamed at the same time. Because
I love that line.
The parents would be proud that they stuck up for each other, but at the same time, what are y'all doing? Y'all are fighting. 10 versus 23 in New Orleans when y'all not even from around here. It was just tough. But
I love his self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because even in the interview he said because he was talking about this song in an interview and he was saying that yes, of course, for this song that's the energy that I'm bringing obviously, but he said in real life now especially he'd have to be all right, but what did you do? Because I know my family's crazy, so what did you do?
For real, right?
How did you start this? Because I know you about to start this shit. So,
he shows all throughout the album how how self-aware he's becoming. It's very good. I like that he's going on 32, but it's very good to have someone like him in his position show that kind of growth. But overall, I gave this song a 10. It was just so much bars in here. The storytelling was perfect. Yeah. The flow was amazing. The sound, everything was great. And like I said, some stories, they're not fun to listen to more than once because you already know the ending. right? And he makes this story like I can listen to this story over and over. And he even incorporates, you know, the actual conversation where the sisters were explaining the story, you know. So it was actually a really good song. 10 out of 10 for me. How about you?
Nice. I'd give it. I'm probably gonna give it a 9, only because I mean again the song is crazy.
Yeah.
For me, in terms of it being like something that I'll constantly come back to, yes, but not like I'm not gonna throw it on if I'm like, you know, on the whip. Just gotta go somewhere to Walmart real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like if I want to listen to the album again, that's 100%.
You don't mind it in the midst of the album.
Yes, I'm never skipping it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So, but 9 out of 10. And then I just wanted to say also the bridge, in the bridge when he says like the last line in the bridge and in the background, he's doing the whole right in my like what is it? Let me see. Yeah, right in my city. Yeah. He's like, I am my shooter. He sounded like Baby Keem a little bit. Like with the echo, because how Baby Keem does that. You know what I mean? He's like, right in my shooter or whatever. So around my city. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I was like, kind of heard Baby Keem a little bit in that, but not you know, anyway, not influence wise, but it just sounded like.
But that was the breakdown for you guys. Again, let us know what you think about that segment. That was a deep dive. We talk about almost as much lines as we can. There were no samples on this track, so that's why we didn't bring you any samples on it. But you know, the production was good. There were just so many lines. Like I felt we needed to focus on those lines more than anything else on this particular breakdown.
And that's I was gonna say that kind of points into like the production, very subtle, boom bat, get to the story kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Watch the breakdown.